Handouts, dog walk this week, I think it's 3:45 p.m. A reminder, next week is an off week, so there won't be a Monday media session, and we'll give you the next week's schedule first of the week. And a reminder, no live streaming.
I know our guys are excited to get moving forward and get to work on Kentucky, which has a physical football team. I thought they did a really good job the other night in their game. I know a lot of our guys have reached out to me and looking forward to getting together today and making sure we have the right kind of practice moving forward. We've got really good leadership on the team, and I know they'll prepare for that. And there's no time for sitting back feeling sorry for yourself, because you've got good teams each and every week. I mean, this is a solid football team that was playing for the East last year. They've had some injuries that have affected them, and they've done a tremendous job of running the ball, finding ways to move the ball with different people doing it. And they've got a big front on defense. They had the same thing last year, and they've got a lot of guys back. So I know our guys will be looking forward, as I am, and with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Kirby, do you have to have a conversation with your team and say, hey, guys, all of our goals are still in front of us? Do you have that conversation with your guys, or do they just know it instinctively?
No, we've had that conversation. I mean, we had that conversation in the locker room. This is not the first time we've had to deal with this. Each year we've had to deal with it at different times from different opponents. And they acknowledge that. They understand. Last 20 years or something of the SEC East, I don't think a team that's represented the SEC East has been undefeated. Maybe Florida, I think one year they did. But outside of that, it just doesn't happen very often. So what's more important is that our team gets ready for Kentucky and gets ready to go play than talking about the rest of the year, because we got to worry about Kentucky.
There's that old football adage, coach, that you can't let a team beat you twice. As it applies to you guys, how does that kind of go into effect?
Well, it goes into effect on this game. Number one, you can't turn the ball over. We got to correct those mistakes, and our guys have got to focus on Kentucky. The most important thing for us is Kentucky, and that's us getting better. And a lot of it has to do with us inherently looking at ourselves and saying, okay, what can I improve upon? But a lot of the things that we can improve upon are based on what Kentucky does, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and that's where our focus will be.
Kirby, off the last game, I think a lot of people were kind of taken aback by the lack of physicality and also mistakes, which could go to lack of focus. Had you seen any warning signs of that in previous games at all, or do you think this was sort of a one-off thing?
No, I don't think I'd seen any warning signs, because I really thought we had good practices. The air cooled off. It wasn't as hot. We had really good practices the week of South Carolina, so that's not a major concern. And then you go to the physicality. It's tough because we have measures of being able to run the ball, and our rush efficiency was much higher than it was against, say, Notre Dame. You know, we rushed the ball more efficient. Efficient is 4 or more on first down, being able to get what you need, short yardage. We won both short yardage situations. Goal line, we won the goal line situation. They weren't long carries, but when it's goal to go 1 or 3rd and 1 and you get the yards, it makes you efficient. Rush average was down, and that's an important stat for us. But rush efficiency for us has been something that's been indicative of success. We've never been an efficient rushing team by what we measure it and lost a game since we've been here, which tells me that we were able to run the ball efficiently. We didn't protect the ball, and that in the end cost us.
How about the mistakes?
I don't think that we had major lack of focus there. I don't think that was the case at all. I thought there were guys focused, tuned in. I thought in pregame warm-ups, for me, I wanted to see more physicality, more get going. I thought that had a little bit to do with the early start, getting them going in the locker room. But there was good preparation, good lead up. Really felt good about that. And you give South Carolina credit; they had a lot of it. But again, the focus for us better be on Kentucky, because you can't let South Carolina beat you twice.
Kirby, it seems the offense, and not just in 2 and 4 minute, does well when it goes up tempo and plays faster. Do you agree or disagree, and why not do that more?
Yeah, we tried to do that several times Saturday, and when we did that, didn't feel like we were very effective. Number one, they played us differently when we tried to go faster. And if you look at the game, it's an outlook overall. Probably the toughest thing for us is, number one, turnovers. And in the SEC, do a study, 4-0 in turnover margin, you're not going to win, period. I mean, it doesn't happen. So let's start with that. Number two, lack of explosive plays, which we've struggled with a little bit. We're not getting explosive plays. Even our runs, we're getting runs, good runs, 10 yards or more, but we're not getting explosive runs, which are longer because there's a lot of people in the box. We're not getting explosive passes. We had a few, but not enough. So we did not win 2 minutes. You look at this year, what we've been great at, we didn't win 2 minutes before the half twice, all right, and then we didn't win 2 minutes at the end of the game. So there was 3 2 minutes in that game, which is very unique. We really didn't win any of the 3 of them, and that's one of our big goals is to win 2 minutes. Every game up until that, it seemed like we had either won defensively before the half or we had won offensively, and we didn't do that. So those are the 3 biggest things that we got to improve on, and we'll continue to work on them.
Kirby, are there lessons you can draw from previous regular season losses like 2017 Auburn, last year against LSU, and apply to this week?
Well, the similarity in LSU is the 4 turnovers. I mean, you turn the ball over 4 times, and you get 0, which is maybe it's just the biggest concern is turning it over 4 times, is getting 0. You got to find a way to get tips and overthrows when the ball's in the air. You got to find a way to knock a ball off somebody, to get a strip sack fumble. You know what I mean? You got to get some turnovers, and we learn from those lessons each and every time we have them, and I feel very confident in the leadership of this team that they'll respond the right way. They did that in the locker room the other day, and they'll handle that the right way.
Kirby, regarding your decision not to kick a field goal with 8 seconds left, does your experience with that kick 6 factor in moments like that?
Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with normal football. No coach in his right mind with 8 seconds thinks he can't get another play off. We do it every single Thursday, every single Friday. We script it. We've done it with 7 seconds. We've actually done it with 6 ever since the Florida halftime deal where we had a chance to get another play in. You know, Florida, with it being really short, condensed area, because that was like on the goal line. So and plus we're going to trust our quarterback to make a good decision there and allow us to have a field goal to kick afterwards. So no doubts, no questions, nothing there.
Coach, what are the challenges Lynn Bowden presents? And I'm guessing there's not a lot of video of him playing quarterback since he's a converted wide receiver, and the challenge with that as well.
He's extremely athletic. I tell you what, the guy does a phenomenal job. I think their staff does a great job of using his skill set. And you think when he's back there he's not going to throw it, but it becomes harder to defend him because you let the pass creep out of your mind, and then he hits 2 or 3 big passes. They've got a major matchup factor on the outside and a really big wide out. They've got tight ends that run pop passes when you play certain coverages. You know, they just do a really good job, and he's hard to tackle. And they've been one of the best rushing teams in our league for a while because of Benny Snell, and now they're finding other ways to use it with Lynn. And the management they had the other night with him back there, he creates a different type football game. It's very different when you look at 3rd down with him having the option to run or throw. It creates a difficult defending mechanism.
Kirby, Mark asked this a little bit, but I just want to ask you about strategy in general. You know, you obviously go back and review all the mistakes that players make during the game. What about yourself? I mean, how do you feel like you've done in strategy as a coach? You're still a relatively new coach, and are there some decisions from the South Carolina game, and specifically, besides field goal maybe, that you might have done a little bit different in retrospect?
Nothing from the South Carolina game perspective. I think looking back, we do self-analysis all the time. I mean, the biggest thing was the 2 minutes before the halves that we had an opportunity to score. We've been really productive in those. We've been really aggressive in those and done well. And we ended up with a long field goal opportunity before the half that ended up getting blocked that, you know, Rod might be able to make, might not. But we thought we managed those really well. We have an analytics group that sends us information every week, and it's the same thing with that. The only consideration that we have is sometimes when to burn timeouts strategy-wise. And philosophically, we go meet with people. We met with NFL teams. We met with SEC officials before the season. When you get a first down, do you call a timeout or do you not? Because sometimes they're going to burn 4 seconds on you regardless. And so a couple times we've had first downs this year that we've had an abundance of timeouts, which means we're managing our timeouts right to even have them to use late in the half, late in the game. And you got to make a choice on whether you use it after a first down. Because some people would say, well, I'll just clock it, or I'll just run a quick play, which at Alabama we had a philosophy of, you know, run a quick play sometimes, but that burns more time than possibly calling a timeout where you go to the half with timeouts. And we've had some situations in the past where we did that. So felt very comfortable about how we use those. And we just got to be more effective and efficient in 2 minutes. And that's really been one of our strengths, not one of our weaknesses.
With the offensive line, how much has that group been hurt or hindered by the sort of constant rotation of guys because of injuries? And is there any update on Solomon Kinley and Justin Schaefer?
Yeah, Schaefer will be out this week. I don't know. He'll be week to week following this week. Don't know when we'll get him back. Solomon's dinged up. We think he's going to be able to go this week. Think he'll be able to play. He's going to be struggling a little bit today. He'll probably be rehabbing some. But Cleveland's a little beat up. There was some time the other day where he was unable to go and ended up being able to finish the game for us. We got a couple other guys that are beat and banged up, but everybody in the SEC does.
Kirby, how's the morale of your coaching staff since you really haven't met with the players since Saturday? And then what's the key to extending offensively and for those receivers to sort of kind of get some separation?
Yeah, I think number one thing is getting some opportunities to do that. Our staff is great. Look, our coaching staff has been through this before. There's not a coach on there that hadn't lost a game. So you understand that that's part of the game, and you give the other team credit. You move on. You don't let it beat you twice. We are very technical in our process of these are the things that we can do better. But these are the things we did well. Just like when we win, we go back and show them the things we didn't do well. And I think that's really important to your players and your team, that your coaches are consistent. So each time we've come in this team meeting room and we've said, hey guys, we won the game, but this is the things that we didn't do well. Just like we're going to say we didn't win the game, and these are some things that we did do well. All right, we got to grow on those, and we got to get better at the things we didn't, and we'll be consistent with our message. Extending offensively. You know, we had pretty good protection. You get 3 sacks. Everybody's like, oh, protection broke down, did terrible. Go back and watch those 3 plays. You know, they're 5 for 5. We got 5 linemen blocking 5 guys. They block them for 3.5, 4 seconds. That's more than your average. We got to find some guys that can get open, that can win one-on-one, that can create separation and do a good job. And then Jake ultimately has got to be the guy that controls it, whether he throws it away, eats it and runs with it, which he did the other day, and makes good decisions with the ball.
Kirby, it seems there's a thought out there that Jake is not maybe as comfortable throwing the ball in the middle of the field. I just wanted to kind of figure out if people were taking inside leverage against you guys, or what the deal was behind that.
No, that's not the case at all. Jake's had some really good throws over the middle. Some of his best throws have been over the middle. I don't know where that comes from or where it would come from. There were some throws on the perimeter that weren't great throws. I mean, it's ones he'd like to have back, but it's not like he's not throwing it over the middle on that. Teams play us different ways. Some people play 2-man where they take away inside leverage. Some people just play man-to-man where they take outside leverage. He knows that. He sees it every day from us. So a lot of the routes are predicated by how people are playing us, but he's not throwing it to the inside or not throwing it to the outside based on ability to be comfortable.
2 questions here. One on the shift. It looked like Jake might have audibled or changed a route in the receiver's shift with maybe, 3 seconds on the play clock. Was that on Jake for calling that too late in the play clock? Should the receivers not have shifted?
Yeah,
Can Cager continue to play with that shoulder?
I don't know if Cager's going to be able to play. He's probably going to be out this week. We don't know that for sure. We're going to see. He's dealing with more than a shoulder now. He's got another injury that happened Saturday, so he may not be able to play. We're not sure yet. We'll see. As far as the play, it was one that we changed at the line, and the 2 guys moved late, and we snapped the ball probably a little bit early. But that's, again, guys, we're going to Kentucky. We're focused on Kentucky. Out of respect for our team, understand we're focused on Kentucky for our players. And we'll grow and develop from the loss. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bury that hatchet. We got things we got to do better. We got to protect the ball. But we're focused on Kentucky.
Kirby, this does sort of spin it forward a little bit, but also big picture. Your assessment of James Coley to this point as an offensive coordinator, and also in general, how much do you sort of immerse yourself in offense, and how much of his play calling is influenced by basically what you want or something maybe you say to him in headphones?
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to Kentucky right now. It's the biggest concern we've got, and we're going to focus on that. You know, I think the most important part of an offense is scoring points. And that's the most important thing. Now, how do I get to those points? Do I get to them through explosive plays? Do I get to them through long, methodical drives, which has so far been our MO? That's been the identity we have of long, methodical drives. And we've had some really good long, methodical drives. But at the end of the day, we're all judged by, number one, how do I score points? How do I protect the ball? And how explosive can I be? And that's what we're focused on.
Kirby. Before Don Blaylock goes out there to catch a punt, do you tell him ahead of time,
fair catch this or return it, or do you let him decide that while the ball's in the air?
Good question. We don't do that, but unfortunately, there's times where we play in safe, where we play in a prevent mode of fake alert based on who they send in the game or based on the down and distance in the game that he has to fair catch it. And we had several of them that we were in safe the other day where he's not protected, meaning we're not holding people up for him, and so he can't just abandon it and try to return it on his own. So we weren't able to set up a lot of returns, which goes back to our third down. Defensively, third down, we won third down. Statistically, looks great that we had really good success on third down. We made our goal 70%. But we didn't hold them to third and long enough to where we got to return the ball on fourth down. There's a lot of times that they were in the 50-yard line range that, they're in fake mode, and we want to be as safe as we can to get possession of the ball and not be able to return it. And that had a lot to do with Dom having to fair catch. It's not a matter of him wanting to.
Kirby, you mentioned after the game that people can heap praise on the offensive line all they want, but they've got to go out there and prove it. How much have you and the coaching staff emphasized that to them all year, and is that something maybe you're going to tell them a little bit more this week?
Well, I think you talk about it all the time. I think saying that when you go back and watch the tape and you see the rush efficiency, meaning the efficiency with which we rush for, which means 4 more on first down, half of second down what you need, and third down you have to get it. We were rush efficient, and we've had some games this year we haven't been rush efficient, and we were. So there's some positive there for the O-line. Protection, I think the first thing you look at is the 3 sacks, but 2 of those 3 they're pretty good protection. We got covered. So it's a team event. And I think that's what you go to mostly. The biggest thing for our guys will be, can they block Kentucky? Can they move Kentucky? Can they create movement to create some explosive runs? Can we block on the perimeter well enough that a 12-yard run is a 50-yard run? Because we've got pretty good backs to do that with. We've opened up a lot of 10 to 12-yard runs. We haven't had the explosives that we need, greater than 12.
What's the key to defensively going against an athletic quarterback? And then how's Tyson? Any news on his injury?
Tyson feels like he's almost back. He just has not been able to. He can run plant point drive, but the pressure, the torque it takes to hit someone and drive off of it where he's feeling somebody else's pressure, that's what he struggled with. And it's a long, slow injury, guys. I mean, it's when you talk to everybody across the country, there's nothing you can do to speed that up. So I don't know, because I don't know if he'll be back. Last time I got to see him was during warm-ups, and he was getting closer. So I'll see. As far as dealing with an athletic quarterback, it's very different because they add extra hat to the box. So every single play where you say, well, man, y'all got a good rush defense, or, man, you stop this guy. This guy can take off running at any time he wants on a drop-back pass, and, maybe 6 or 7 guys in the box might not have a chance to tackle him because he's extremely athletic. It's a receiver, a great athlete, and a really good athlete playing quarterback, which creates a new dynamic for us.
2 more questions?
With the wide receivers, how much of them needing to get open and win in coverage is them just sort of winning their routes, and how much of it is you guys maybe need to scheme easier ways for them to get open going forward?
Well, I think it's always a combination of both. You're looking for man-to-mans to stay on the run. Can you get off of press coverage? Can you separate? What kind of style defense are you going against? Is it more zone or more man? And each one of those is really important. And it's important for our wideouts to be able to create separation for Jake. It's important for Jake to see separation, to feel confident, and to be able to throw it.
Last question?
I think you said after the game about wanting to help your players, put them in better position offensively.
Everywhere, defense and special teams, everything.
Okay, yeah, I think you said specifically about offensively. And is there any? I was going to ask you to, what kind of ideas come to mind with that? And regarding the receivers or even offensive line, I know you guys deal with injuries, but is there any benefit to shortening the rotations at all to go with your most effective players?
Rotations of what?
Wide out, offensive line. Usually our players at this spot.
Well, offensive line, we were forced to.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware of the injuries we've been dealing with, so there's not a lot of choice. If a guy can't go, you can't play with 4. So you have to put another guy in. So there's not really a rotation going on the offensive line. The only rotation's been Ben and Cade for the most part. Everything else has been injury driven for us. As far as wideouts, nobody plays 3 wideouts. I mean, most people we play 6 to 7, and right now we're playing 6 to 7, and we'd like to keep those guys fresh as possible, especially in a game that you're going 2 minute 3 times. You want to keep guys fresh and try to do that.